This is the WEEU Morning Show here on this Wednesday morning. We've been talking about these gentlemen for the last week or so. It's Shane and Ted from Parkeology.com, and these guys did something amazing. Let's say good morning to them, and then we'll get things started. Good morning, Shane and Ted. How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great, Mike.
We're doing great.
So, Ted, you're in Chicago right now.
Yeah, I am. Real lucky to be.
And Shane, your buddy, he's in Orlando.
That's right. It's kind of a dreary, overcast day here in Orlando.
Yeah, Shane, I asked him, first thing I asked him when I got him on the phone here during the news break was, what's the temperature in Orlando? And Shane, what did you tell me?
Well, I said it's a chilly 62. It's only going to get up to 66 today. So, I'm sure everybody in your audience is just really feels bad for me right now.
Yeah, we feel for you. You'll be on the top of our minds today when we're shivering and running from our car to the work, and then from our work back to the car, and then the car back to the house. So you'll be who we're thinking about today, Shane, when we're freezing our tuchuses off.
I really appreciate that.
But to the point at hand, what you guys did, and it's something amazing, you rode all 46 rides at Walt Disney World, and you did it in one day. And the first question has to be, why?
Oh, well, it started off when I was a kid. I'm from the Midwest, actually. I grew up in Indiana, and my parents would take us to Disney every year. But we were a large family, so we could only afford to really go to Disney for one day every year. And, at the time, there was only the Magic Kingdom Park, and then Disney added Epcot Center, and then the Disney MGM Studios, and then Animal Kingdom. And we just kept going, but we could only go one day. And it wasn't until I was an adult where I would actually be able to go more than one day at a time. Mm-hmm. So I grew up kind of, being a Disney fan and being obsessed with trying to maximize that time. And then, flash forward several, decades later, and Ted and I are running this website called Parkeology, which is just a Disney fan site. And, I thought it would be a fun little, a fun stunt to, try to see if it was possible to ride every ride in a single day. And we looked them up on the Disney official site and counted them up, and there were 46 of them. And we thought, hey, let's see if we can do this. And so that's really how it got started.
Now, Ted, when Shane pitched this to you that, hey, let's do this stunt, let's see if we can ride all 46 rides and do it in one operating day, did you even think it was possible?
Well, it's funny, Mike. First of all, Shane has like a heartwarming story about, a childhood dream, and, I just like doing stupid things.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So when we first started talking about it, I'll be honest with you, I was very attracted to do it because of the sheer just audacity and stupidity of it all. It just, I knew it would be fun. But I'm more of the realist, and Shane is the ever optimist. And so as we're kind of putting the schedule together and we're seeing that we're going to have, 45 seconds to get from one ride to the next ride and so forth, it seemed a little bit like a long shot to me. I have to say, until we were probably 2/3 of the way through actually doing our first attempt at it, I'm not sure that I fully believed it could have been done.
You mentioned your first attempt back in 2013. You tried it. Back then there were 47 rides. It was WDW 47. You guys fell a little bit short, and that's mostly just because of the weather. I watched the video. You got hit by one of Florida's famous rainstorms that came rolling in and closed down a couple of the rides, and then you tried it again and were successful in 2014. Everything worked out for you. You mentioned the plan. You kind of script how you want the day to go, but you can't really stick to that script. There were some things you kind of had to call some audibles, as you guys called it, in your video. And Shane, as you were doing that, did that make you worry at all that maybe it wasn't going to work, or were you guys prepared to have to go off course just a bit?
Well, we were prepared to go off course a little bit. I'll tell you what, when we were planning this thing, and it's one thing to say, oh yeah, ride all 46, but when you actually start planning it, you really do have to script it out ride by ride, almost to the letter. And we had to account for what if you've been to Disney, you know that there are really like maybe 3 or 4 really huge rides that are going to get long lines throughout the day. So, and one of those is Toy Story Mania at Disney's Hollywood Studios.
It sure is.
That line will hit like 70 minutes, almost within a few minutes of the park opening, and it's going to stay there all day. So our plan was to hit that ride very first thing, be one of the first people through the gate and hit that ride, and then tackle the rest of the rides from there. And what happened was we got there bright and early. We're coming up Hollywood Boulevard. We're the first people in the park. We're going to be the first people on the ride, and we get there, and the ride is closed. And they say, we don't know if it's going to be reopening, and do not form a line. And so we're standing there, and it's like the very first ride of the day, and the whole day looks shot, because if this thing doesn't come up, the whole plan's ruined, and if we wait, it's going to be an hour-long wait later. And we kind of debated for about 10 minutes, then left and went and rode other rides, and then had to come back and get that one with a little bit of a wait. But really, that was a down moment to start the day off like that.
The very first ride, you come on up and it's closed, and you run into that. There aren't a lot of rides that close down at Walt Disney World for the day, but they do happen and they do get closed. And luckily for you guys, it did open. You got on, and you were able to complete the just amazing feat of getting on all 46 rides. And you would think us, novices who have never tried this before, would think you'd go to one park and get them all out of the way, then go to the next park, get them all out of the way. But you guys actually hopped in between the parks multiple times and ended up going back to some parks more than once to try to get all these rides in.
Right. It's not as easy as it may look on paper. But logically, you would say, let's go to the first park and work through it and on to the second, third, and fourth. But the problem is there's a rolling schedule where certain rides may open late or close earlier than the rest of the park. So to give you an example, there is an attraction called the Main Street Vehicles at the Magic Kingdom. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it. It's just literally the old-fashioned horse-drawn trolley that, looks all nice going down Main Street there in front of the castle. The problem is its operating hours are from 9 in the morning to 10:30 in the morning. It varies a little bit from day to day, but basically it's only open for an hour or two in the morning to have a little bit of atmosphere. So in the day that we did WDW 46, Disney MGM Studios, or it's now called Disney Hollywood Studios, opened first. So we were at that park, but we had to get ourselves back to the Magic Kingdom before the Main Street Vehicles closed. And you'll find things like that throughout the whole day. So when you lay out the plan, you really, really have to be aware of each attraction's operating hours.
It's almost a science what you guys had it narrowed down to. You had it down to a science on where you had to be, when you had to be there, how long you had to do it in. Just an amazing feat for any of us who have been to Disney. As I was saying to you guys off the air, I've been there multiple times with just me and my wife, with friends, with my entire family, with my little girl. And we've had struggles getting to every ride in a week, and you guys did it in one day. You can see their video. They did a fantastic job documenting it. It's a 27-minute long video up on YouTube. I have it posted up on our Facebook pages, facebook.com/the WEEU Morning Show and facebook.com/8:30 a.m. WEEU. It's really a fun watch. It's interesting, and some of my favorite moments are when you guys are on, like the Dumbo ride, the Magic Carpets ride, and you look in the camera, deadpan, and just say, two 40-year-old guys, riding the Dumbo ride. Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that, right?
Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Now, did you get any weird looks when you were waiting in line to ride the Magic Carpets and there's no kids in sight?
We didn't get necessarily any weird looks on Magic Carpets, but when it got to be late in the day, Magic Kingdom was open, I think, till 1 a.m., so the crowd just started to thin out, but one of the last rides we had to hit was that classic Disney attraction, It's a Small World.
Oh.
It, has this reputation of being like a kiddie ride,
yes,
with a really annoying song and so forth. But, Ted and I, that was one of the last rides we hit, so it's after midnight sometime, and we get in line for It's a Small World, and we're all set to do that little deadpan gag, and for some reason, the cast members, there's one other guy, some other 40-year-old dude who was also in line. And they sit us all in the same boat, literally like within the first two rows of the boat. So it was very an awkward situation. And we're it's just three dudes just riding through Dumbo in the middle of the night. So it's very strange.
Just a weird situation that not a lot of people have been in right there. Just hanging out on It's a Small World with a stranger. Hey, I got to do sports here. Can you guys hold on? I have a couple more questions for you. Do you mind holding for a couple minutes?
Yeah, sounds great.
Back to Ted and Shane from Parkeology. It's Parkeology.com. They rode all 46 rides at Walt Disney World. That's the Magic Kingdom, Epcot Center, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. They rode them all in one day, and they did it successfully. It took them 2 tries. The first time back in 2013, the weather got them. The rain popped up there in Florida, as it does, and they fell a little short of their 46. But in 2014, they got them all in. And in fact, guys, you didn't just get the 46 in, but you got a couple bonus rides in after you rode them all. I think you got up to 50 total. Is that right?
Well, we did. And I want to point out that to ride all 46 rides, you have to actually find a day when all 46 rides are operating.
Which can be tough.
Incredibly tough. There's, at almost any given time during the year, at least one and oftentimes many attractions that are down to rehab or for whatever possible reason. I don't even mean something that might just happen during the day, like weather, which hit us the first attempt. I mean scheduled rehabs of rides. So we found a day when all 46 were operating, and despite the crazy bad beginning that Shane had talked about, we made up the time 2 minutes at a time, as I kept on saying, throughout the whole day. And almost miraculously, we found ourselves with about 20 minutes extra time at the end. So we tacked on a few bonus rides, re-rode 4 rides to bring us up to an even 50.
Yeah, and they got to check out the video. It's very cool. It's up on their website, Parkeology.com. You can also see it on our Facebook pages, Facebook.com/the WEEU Morning Show and Facebook.com/8:30 a.m. WEEU. Now, Walt Disney World, that's a place where us mere mortals go for fun and relaxation and to have a good time with our family. When you guys did this, rode all 46 rides in one day, and you watch the video, there's times you're sprinting across the park, you're running, you're hustling, you're hurrying. The whole day is planned out. You're checking off these rides as you get them done. You're looking at the schedule. Did you have fun?
Well, I'll say this. So our big thing for doing it was it had to be done legitimately, as if, if we had just shown up there and if anybody else had, just happened to be at the park and wanted to do it with us, they could do it. So it was like no cheating. We're not getting back doors onto rides. We're not, jumping in front of people at lines. We're going to do it by the book, the way any average guest would do it. But having said that, if you were an average guest, you would not have had fun. I mean, if you're just there for a day, it would have just been pure insanity. I used the analogy before. It's like trying to do a Sudoku puzzle while running a marathon. It was a lot of running around, and I think Ted he had a Fitbit that actually tracked how many miles, and then by the end of it, we were up over 20 miles.
Wow.
Just crisscrossing the parks.
And the video, at the end of the video, there's a great scene where you guys are just exhausted, sitting in some mini mart somewhere, eating sandwiches at a table quietly, just trying to collect yourselves and enjoying your sandwiches. And what time was that shot?
That was, I'd have to go and look at the actual timestamp, but, 1:30 in the morning, something like that. That stems back from our first attempt at this, in 2013, where really we had accomplished it, but the rain had closed 2 rides, making it, a technical fail. And at that time, I think it was 2 in the morning, there's no place open. When we're doing this, Mike, we are not eating. You do not have time to stop and eat.
Yeah.
So, this is 16 or 17 hours of basically running, frantically adjusting things on the fly, maybe trying to jam down a power bar that you've packed. So the first attempt, the only place we could find open was the Hess gas station. So when we successfully completed it, it felt like a tradition to go back, and we had a little Avengers moment there. If you've ever seen the end of the movie, The Avengers.
I have.
So that was our tribute to the Avengers there at the end of the video.
Awesome, and you guys have spawned a whole rash of people now who are giving this a shot. Someone actually, they call themselves Disney in a Day. That's the name of their team. They actually accomplished it not too long after you guys accomplished the same feat, and some people have failed, and there's people who are scheduled to give it a try. There's someone who's going to try it, anyways, according to your website, this coming Saturday. So it's now a thing, doing every ride in one day at Walt Disney World. You guys have started a trend.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see how everybody has wanted to try it for themselves. Ted and I, we enjoy that and we embrace that. We kind of keep ourselves, as the official, keepers of the Walt Disney World 46 attempts. And we just have fun with it, and that's what we tell other people that want to do it. Just have fun with it, and let us know if you do it, and we'll keep track of it, and just see how many people can do this thing.
Very cool. One final question for each of you, Ted. Now that it's finally done, you completed it. Would you ever try it again?
Mike, when we failed on the first attempt, which I had physically broken my toe or something during that event,
there was injuries.
It was a tough thing. We said we are never doing it again. Both of us were never doing it again. And yet a little over a year later, there we were doing it again. So I don't know that I would just do exactly what we've already done because we've done it.
Mm-hmm.
But, we've talked about a few things, Shane and myself, and I'll put it this way. I'd never say never.
Plus, they're always adding rides, so you never know. At some point, it may be WDW 50.
Who knows?
Up the ante. And Shane, you said you dreamed about this your entire life from the time you were going to Disney World as a kid. Did it live up to your expectations to get every ride in one day?
It did. When we finally got it at the end, it was a great feeling. And, just doing it with a friend and having somebody along that's really as crazy about the parks as I am, was a lot of fun. So, yeah, it was one of the best times I've ever had at Disney World. I'll say that for sure.
Very cool. Ted and Shane from Parkeology. It's Parkeology.com. The WDW 46 Challenge. If anybody is going to Walt Disney World at any time, you're planning it, check it out, Parkeology.com. You can take the WDW 46 Challenge for yourself. Ted and Shane, thank you so much for chatting with us here on this Wednesday morning, and I appreciate your time, and the video was great, and thanks for having some fun with us.
Hey, Mike, thanks a lot. We had a good time.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
All right, there they go. Ted and Shane from Parkeology.com. Check them out.